So today we're going to get back to basics and we're going to put up an A-frame tarp, and we're also going to have a look at putting up one of these mini dome tents. This is a 2-person dome tent. I picked it up from the local thrift shop and it was about $2 or $3. So it did come with the poles and it came with the pegs. So let's go check it out. So first of all, we'll start off with the dome tent. Now the first thing I need to do is I need to find a clear area where I put it up. Obviously behind me, reasonably clear. I need to move all the sticks and everything else away so the bottom of this doesn't get punctures and it's not uncomfortable to lay on. So that's going to be the first thing I'll do. Okay, now that that's reasonably clear, let's open this out. So, it comes with pegs and it comes with the poles. So, as you can see, this tent is in reasonably good condition. Just put that to the side. Now, first things first, my pegs, there's my poles. I want to roll the base out. Like so. This is a rain cover. So now I want to pick out which way I want the door to face. So I want the door facing that way. The door openings here clearly marked. So now I want to take the 4 corners and I want to peg them out. So I'll do that now. Now that's done, poles. And you'll see there's 2 poles in here. Obviously same length, same everything. So you want to slot them out. Now some of these tents, not all of them, but some of them have got this little flap that you slide your pole through. So we'll just find the end of that, we'll slide it on through. Just like so. Now we'll need to go through the same spot on the opposite side. Just like so. Slowly slide it all the way through till you got roughly about equal distance for both sides of your pole. Alright, I'm just going to repeat that on the opposite side. Okay, so where you've put your pegs, you'll see there's another insert, and this insert here is the insert where the leg goes into. Just like so. So now I'll repeat that on all 4 corners. Now, once you get the first one in, like so, the whole thing's going to want to pull in that direction. So don't force it, just let it, because eventually it will stand up. Just like so. So now we'll simply repeat the same on the opposite 2 corners. And just before I put this last corner in, there's a tie just in the center here. So I'm going to tie that up so your two poles are together. Simple tie. Put that back in. We'll pop around here and pop the last one in. As you can see now, the shape's coming together. And as I put the last one in, now there is tension on these, don't force them. Just like so. Stir it up. Just like that. And then we have the dome tent. Now we have this air flap on the top. That simply clips in to the top as well. And you're good to go. Simple, basic, and there's my tent ready to go. So nice and basic. These are cheap, easy to use. Now this is a single wall, as you can see, and there's only fly wire on the top half of the door. So this is a spring summer Australian tent. I wouldn't recommend using these in winter because of condensation and other things like that. But these are cheap alternatives to more expensive stuff like swags and things like that. Nice and simple. Like I said, cost me $2 or $3. Okay, so now I'm going to set up my tarp. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to set up my ridge line. Now I've got a heap of cordage in here, so we'll just pop this open. And as you can see right on top, I've got my quick deploy ridge line. I'll just whack that over there. Now I've got two pieces of wood that I've carved out and they run along my ridge line, and I've got three prusik knots. So I'll just uncoil some of this. I've also got two small pieces of paracord tied with fisherman's knot. They are for the corners of my tarp, so we'll whack them on my wrist like so. So my quick deploy ridge line. So I have a bowline tied to one end. This will go around my first tree and it will loop onto my piece of wood, and then I'll pull out more cordage as I need it, and the second piece of wood will go around the tree and go into my third prusik, and then I can then ratchet it nice and tight. So the first thing I'll do is I'll put the first side on the first tree. Okay, quick deployed ridge line tied to this tree. So I'll simply put my loop around the tree and I'll feed my first bit of wood into that loop. That will lock it down nice and tight. And now I'll simply feed out my ridge line, and while I'm moving along, I'll move the last prusik knot and the other piece of wood to the opposite tree. So let's shoot over there. Okay, so we're over on the opposite side. So I want to take my ridge line with my piece of wood and I want to wrap it around the tree like so. And here's my prusik. I want to simply slip my piece of wood into my prusik like so, pulling my prusik away from the tree just a bit, and then tightening up my cord. So this will lock onto itself because of the way that the line is, and you just simply tighten it up to your desired amount. So that looks pretty good to me. I'll just simply put a quick little Not in it for safety reasons, just in case. Over, under, through. And there is my ridgeline, plain and simple, ready to go. Okay, so now that my ridgeline's up, now I just simply need to grab out my tarp. Like so. Always leave your bags where your kit is. Simply pull out my tarp. And if you remember, I put my prussic knots. So we'll slide those over. I've got one here. Slide it over to this side. In it goes. Just a whippy. And then simply repeating the same on the opposite side. Like so. Now prussics are a great knot because they will freely slide along your ridgeline. As soon as you put pressure on them, they will lock. So I'll just tighten that up like so. As you can see, I put some pressure on it and it locks. Then it's simply a matter of pulling out the bottom of my tarp and staking it out. So as you can see, I'm on the opposite side. I flip some under, kick it out. These loops are very handy to my desired angle, and I will peg it out just like so. I'll do the same to this side. Simply pull it out, match up the loop and peg it out. So now what I've actually done is, because I've flopped it underneath, I've actually got some area of a ground sheet. Enough room in here to take shelter, and obviously I've got a first protective layer against the ground. There is a centre tie that you can tie out if you want some extra room, but at this stage not a problem at all. I could quite easily take shelter even in the worst of weather. If the rain comes in and gets really bad, I can just lower the ridge lines and have this a lot lower down, protecting me from the elements. So that's just a simplified way of putting up a ridge line and setting up a simplified lean-to shelter, and also a rough guide on how to put up one of the dome tents. So regardless of what you choose, they're both reasonably effective in bushland. Obviously the tents are going to be a lot more visible from the sky because of their colour. So I've obviously have a camouflaged military tarp, and that's going to be extremely hard to spot when you're in bushland. But whenever you do go out in bushland, always remember to tell somebody where you're going, who you're going with, and roughly the time that you're going to get back.